I was when I said I had to go to the bathroom earlier, I dropped a quick deuce, and I was sitting there getting hyped for the show, and a fly landed on the wall, and I went, "Oh." It was like, I just like went grunted autism. I was like, that's what Elden Ring Shadow of the Nerdtree.
That's about the speed.
All about. I think that's a good introduction.
I don't think we're gonna get one better.
You're not gonna get much better than that. This is Shadow of the Nerdtree, brought to you by Strength and Gaming. I think I forgot to say that last time. I mean, it might be obvious since it's on that channel, but I'm Samson Lancaster, and I'm joined, and I'm Samson the Bloody Finger, and I'm joined by our host of fingers, Devin motherfucking Steele.
Skidoo me once, shame on you. Skidoo me twice, shame on me.
Skidoo me twice, shadow on you. I just remember watching Charlie's videos about that. But anyways, so we have some fun stuff to talk about today. I didn't expect, I expected no interaction at all whatsoever. I did not expect this episode to have multiple times the amount of engagement and watches than our normal stuff through Strength and Gaming.
You forgot, sir. You forgot that Souls fans are very interactable.
That was, yeah. Yes.
Remember back in the Raging Red Onion days, you would get a lot of comments on those videos.
Oh, I get a lot of autism.
A lot of autism there.
So I think it's the reason why I feel like that's more appropriate is because that word has moved to encompass a lot of things because of the whole spectrum, and it's very likely that some of us are. I'm pretty sure I am. Maybe not. Maybe not diagnosed. I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed ADHD as well. But so Shadow of the Nerdtree. We've gotten a lot of interaction. We have a few comments here that I wanted to go over. Today we're going to talk about those, and then we also have an interesting art book coming out, announced for Elden Ring since Shadow of the Erdtree came out, and we're going to dive into a little bit about messages, mostly specifically in Shadow of the Erdtree, but I mean it's going to bleed into it's going to bleed into all of Elden Ring probably, and most likely Souls, because let's face it, it's the messages. We're talking about the in-game messages. They're through all the games, and they're interesting. They're fun. We love them. So, very first comment here. We'll probably start a little debate, because as these comments were coming in, I was messaging Devin. Devin, ooh, I'm going through second puberty, and I was trying to get him to comment, but I think what I need to do is I need to get you on the channel so you can also like view it anytime you want, and then you can comment as Strength and Gaming, but then just put like dash Devin or Erebus or whatever if you don't want to use your actual account. I understand, you're in hiding.
I am in hiding. The government forced me into hiding. It's been years now.
But the first comment comes from Liquid Reality 472. First of all, thank you for commenting. Secondly, I bet you didn't know we were going to talk about you on the next show. But I quote, "Without summoning, would you still say it's the easiest of the Souls games?" So I got this, I think, right when I left on vacation. And so I started like texting Devin and me. I was like, dude, you got to respond to this stuff. And then, of course, I just started responding to it. Yeah. Just because, it's me. And I was like I think I was in the car while we were driving to Utah. Because I drove us. So it must have been, yeah, you know what? It was when I was in Quail Creek, Utah. It was 115 degrees outside. And
or you were breaking the law.
Yeah. Yes, I was. Well, no, I'm pretty sure. Well, it was. because I was into it. Like I can't read shit like this when I'm driving. Yeah, I mean, like changing the music channel or something is about as but most I could do on a phone while driving. You're not supposed to do that. But so I went ahead on there as Strength Gaming and responded yes, 100%. As far as difficulty of bosses, mini bosses, general mobs, Elden Ring is the easiest of the Souls games. Period. That being said, you can make it harder if you wish. Period. However, Elden Ring, being a massive open world game, could make it harder with some players' styles, such as completionists. And then I made sure to tag that was myself that was commenting. And I still feel that way about it, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But Liquid Reality 472 says, in that case, to add a point of reference, easiest for a level 1 run. Usually people complain about the opposite. And that was when I was like, Devin, god damn it. Please, someone, I have no idea. Like, respond to this. Like, I've never done that. And you can explain what you said to me, I think, after I asked you.
Yeah, so you had asked me to talk about the level 1 run experience, and I've only ever done a level 1 run of Dark Souls 3, and it's with two caveats. The more important caveat being I didn't finish it, but
Rage
the
quit,
other
yes.
caveat, yes, rage quit. Well, it was one of those things because it was when I was doing a YouTube channel, and it was for content.
You were trying to make content, yeah.
And at a certain point, it wasn't progressing at a pace that was good enough for content, so
not worth it. Yeah,
had to get chopped. But the second caveat is that I did it. I still think I can remember. I called it the Mad Hollow run. So it was soul level 1 with an unupgraded broken straight sword.
Yes, the broken straight sword. I remember this.
Yeah. So, which a general soul level 1 run, you don't have to be that kneecapped.
No. But that's
so it's different,
though.
And also I have no point of comparison because it's the only soul level 1 run I've attempted. So I can't compare it to the other games because I haven't done.
So, that being said, I knew you weren't going to comment on it, but then before I could comment back, Jordy Jones 5618 commented, explain your logic and build. I could see maybe a strength/shield user, or if you heavily use magic, but if you're up close using dex without any magic, this is by far the hardest. And I believe I messaged you with that as well, and you were like, get good. Or something along those lines. But I did respond with basically at that point, because you told me that, and I was like, I don't think I've ever done. I've never attempted any of those things. So I feel like it's a waste of time for content. Sure, maybe if you want to do content, because that's you're really only doing it for bragging rights or content. Like there's no other reason to do it. I guess maybe challenge yourself. But I said to respond to Liquid Reality at least, but also kind of so no, yeah, I responded to Liquid Reality. Said I'm too old for that crazy stuff. Just like to enjoy the game these days, and of course invade others to ruin their day. Laughing face or laugh crying face. That being said, I think a level 1 run objectively could be as hard as other Souls games, as Elden Ring scales with your playstyle. So that's getting more into this whole debate of Elden Ring being the easiest of the Souls games, which is what I believe what I said. I want to make sure that's what I said. Yeah, I said Elden Ring is the easiest of the Souls games. Okay. And then I responded to Jordy Jones about the logic and build, and I said, me big bonk unga bunga, 2-hand, no shield. Mostly the Rage Red Onion is built for invasions. So heavy great sword, strength build, always 2-hand with turtle shield for stamina only. Also, get good, scrub. And they surprisingly they didn't comment back after that. but Liquid Reality did, so it added to the conversation, saying Liquid Reality responded with, yeah, and that's fine. I just don't think it's accurate to say it's the easiest without applying appropriate control conditions. Period. It's one thing to say Elden Ring is the easiest Souls game at level 350 summoning Mimic tier. It's another to say it's the easiest level 1 run, which you mentioned will get as you as close as you as possible to something resembling an objective assessment. Without any context, there is no way to claim that it's the easiest. I have plenty of fucking context for this. Okay.
So right off the
First
bat,
of all, yes, it is the easiest Souls game. Go ahead.
What I will say is, what this person is attempting to do is to bring a baseline of all gamers and all gaming to one moment. With this whole Soul Level 1 thing of like, okay, but if you're doing the hardest challenge run,
the first problem.
Is it the hardest thing ever?
These games are not for all gamers. Souls games are for Souls gamers. Because let's face it, there are people that will not play these games. And yes, a lot of them came in with Elden Ring. But anyways, go ahead. I interrupted you.
So, no, I think the main point is actually, I don't think I disagree with this opinion as much as I don't agree with the mentality that formulates the opinion, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. No, I get that.
Because the way that I'm tackling it, and when I say something like it's the easiest of the Souls games, I'm saying when it is played as intended. So you should be using Spirit Ashes because it's an entire mechanic of the game that's built in.
Yeah.
You can summon. Well, I mean, at least NPC summons are built into the game for bosses to be balanced around.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically in the DLC and Shadow of the Nerdtree, I feel like a lot of the bosses are tuned to the fact that there are multiple people in the room.
Yes, they scale with extra.
And part of that too is I will confirm now what I was not sure of in episode 1, which is yes, I am playing on New Game Plus difficulty.
Okay, good point of reference.
Because I'm in New Game Plus, but flip that script also to the commenter's point. I'm also ridiculously overleveled because I've gone through New Game Plus.
I'm not. I'm in regular. The first game.
So between the two of us,
I'm actually a lot lower. I'm a lot lower than most people I think are during
because you want to stay in that sweet spot for invasions.
Yeah, so I think I just leveled a couple of times again. So I think I'm at like 160 now. But that's still really low, I think.
I think it's a lot of people close to the meta.
Yeah, the meta, right? But
because the meta for this game is a little higher than other ones. I think it's I think it's around 150.
I think before
I'm gonna Google it.
Shadow of the Erdtree, the meta was like 125. But the other thing too is there are metas for invasions. At least there are metas at each section is a good meta, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that being said,
that's always true.
To your point, similarly, not exactly the same. For it to be played as intended, it is the easiest Souls game. Okay, yes, I agree with that. But I would go farther and say, if something is in the game and it's not an exploit or a cheat or anything like that, then and you don't have to necessarily work for it as much as say like leveling up or getting good. that's my baseline. And because I don't give a crap about level 1 runs. No offense to Liquid Reality, but I don't not respect the people that do them. It's just not something I would never do, and I don't really watch that content because it seems pointless to me. And
it's
again,
different.
No disrespect.
Well, I mean, hey, you're literally talking to someone who tried one, so
yeah,
like obviously not a disrespect move, but I'll also say like to their point, because this game is balanced around you using things like Spirit Ashes and summons, if you use nothing and you refuse to use any of those,
it makes it harder
things.
Yes,
it's certainly harder. It might be harder than other games at level 1 runs,
but it's not harder than Sekiro.
But
here's my logic:
as intended, it's the easiest. Is my final word on it.
Sekiro is a Souls game because it's the same formula. It's FromSoft, all that 100%. Stuff, right? 100%. And one would argue it's actually it's more to the roots of From Software because Tenchu Stealth Assassins, a very similar style game, except there's less forced stealth in Sekiro than Tenchu Stealth Assassins. Basically, you had to be stealth or you would just die. But in Sekiro, you can't summon anybody. You don't get any summons. you only get good. Even the leveling system doesn't really do much at a certain point. Like, yeah, sure, I grinded a bit for the last boss and gained like 10 levels or whatever, but it really made hardly any difference. All it
Yeah.
really did was give me more discipline to be ready for fighting the last boss, which requires a ton of fucking discipline and pure get goodedness because
Hmm.
all you can do, and yes, you could play at level 1 and it would be really, really, really fucking hard, but then it would absolutely be the hardest Souls game, no matter what, hands down. But if we're just playing it normal all the way through, even if you take Elden Ring and you do everything you possibly can to make it the hardest game, level 1, no summons, all this bullshit, I still think a regular run of Sekiro is harder because just based on one boss, like the last boss is just way harder. But that being said, um, I just think, um, and yes, I do summon Mimic Tier. I'm not level 350, but I'm not playing on New Game Plus. Um, but also some of the NPCs are really good for story, and I want to experience the story. I regret not experiencing the story as much in prior games, but then I ended up doing a few more playthroughs because of the Raging Red Onion, so that I could build them out and stuff. So I did get more of that story. I mean, there's definitely more. There's more story on the surface in Elden Ring than in other Souls games.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
still it's still not a lot, as what most people are used to with RPGs, but yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful for these comments from Liquid Reality 472 and Jody Jones 5618. Um, but yeah, get good, guys. Um, I mean, come on, man. It's 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 it is the easiest Souls game, and here's one of my theories as to why people getting defensive about it. Maybe they haven't played the other Souls games. You know, maybe they just got inducted into the Souls Club and they're being picked on by all of us Souls people that have
All us
played all
old
the games,
heads.
all us old heads. And we don't want that. I don't want that either. I don't want you to I don't want them to feel like, so you have to understand that get good isn't as dickish or assholish as it sounds, because it's literally, unfortunately and fortunately, the best advice anybody can give you for a Souls game.
And really, in
Because
the Souls community, it is a term of endearment at this
it
point.
is, at a certain point, it is. Even getting pointed down can be like, it's hard to gauge certain situations, because like a point down could be like literally F you, you fucking suck and I hate you, this was stupid. Or it could be get good scrub, which is a little bit more, on the other side of that.
More
um
jovial.
but even still, like, I typically play more jovially. If you've ever watched the Raging Red Onion video, I think the funniest comment that I ever got in one of those videos was basically someone was like super ragey and pissed, and they made a comment, and then immediately they didn't delete it, which I'm very glad. They didn't delete the comment about being all raged out and everything. They just replied to it, and they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was watching this without audio on, and I thought you were just a fucking asshole with a big club smashing people in the face." And yes, I am an asshole with a big club smashing people in the face, but I was very jovial about it. Very, very, as they say, what's the, gosh, oh, jolly, jolly invasions. They were jolly
Jolly.
invasions. I knew it started with a J still. But thank you guys for those comments. That was really fun to talk about, and I'm really glad that we're getting interaction. And in fact, I was very surprised that one of our shorts got a comment, not a huge one, but it was the short where I mentioned that DS2's had the best invasions, and I believe you agreed. I don't know if you agreeing is in the clip, but at the very least that statement was made. And Royce Thompson 3161 said, "To me, it was DS2, but only because it had the most respectful invaders. I have easily spent 100 hours in PvP in DS3 regardless." So I replied with, DS2 invasions are underrated, because I felt that they were. Um, and they replied, respect for other players is now underrated. If people were chill, it wouldn't matter how broken the mechanics of the game is. And that's true.
That is
If
true.
people are chill, it doesn't matter how broken the mechanics of the game are. And also, too, broken game mechanics can be charming, especially if they're amusing. But I will say, as far as invasions are concerned, Our prior commentators, Liquid Reality and Jordy Jones, I would say hands down, invasions in Elden Ring are the hardest invasions in Souls games. I don't think there's been any other game that was, because DS2 was painful, but not for reasons of how stacked against invaders,
Well,
the
no,
game is.
DS2's big problem was connectivity issues. Like there was so much
Connectivity issues, yes.
latency in that
Yes.
game with PvP. That was what hurt it the most.
Yeah, broken
And
game mechanics. But
like,
well, no, I'm just saying, yeah, but Elden Ring by far, like that's a claim that I know. I mean, are there invasions in Demon Souls?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
But
but
it's not fucked up like Elden Ring though.
no, the invasions in
Okay.
Demon Souls run more or less similarly to DS1.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
does some like level matching and weapon upgrade matching, I believe, but it's not. It didn't bring in the like player count thing that started coming in later. Like that was a big thing. So DS3, I think, is the first time at least that I was aware of where that became a big thing, where it was prioritizing groups instead of individual hosts. But then with Elden Ring, you can't even invade an individual
Yeah,
host.
exactly.
At
So
all.
unless they've set it up so that you can, because there
Right.
I
If they
did
use
run
the
into
item, the PvP item, they
I
can.
did run into a couple of people that just wanted to 1v1 in world, and that was
Mhm.
that was pretty cool. They were good fights. But yeah. So I think that it's interesting though
But that also
that
to me is not an invasion. That is a duel because
no,
they're
it's
inviting
not.
you
It's a
in.
duel. It is a duel. Yeah, correct.
You can only properly invade when there's at least a couple people in there, which is
Although I have run into one. Well, you know what probably happened is their phantoms probably died before I got there, because there are ways that can happen too.
that can certainly happen.
But yeah, so I think
But
it's interesting that I will say that, Elden Ring, easiest Souls game as far as like single player, multiplayer co-op. Hardest for invasions, multiplayer PvP. But yeah, as far as DS2, I did a lot of DS2 PvP as well. I think mostly I wasn't the Onion in that. I think I was Havel. I think I invaded as Havel pretty much. But
yeah, I personally did not invade in DS2. Um, I only did invasions in 3, Bloodborne, DS1
yeah,
remake.
I did like one in Bloodborne, and I was like, fuck
No,
this.
yeah, Bloodborne was not. I didn't find
It
it fun.
wasn't. It
It
wasn't.
was too drawn
Yeah,
out.
it wasn't fun. It wasn't that it was harder for the invader. It was just like, oh my god, everybody has 5 million blood vials they can just keep fucking stabbing themselves with, and it just takes
Yeah,
forever. Like there's no.
and the one interesting thing was in Bloodborne you could parry healing, which was
I
interesting.
didn't even know. Oh, with the gun.
Yeah, if you shot at the
Yeah.
correct time when they were trying to heal, you would get a parry state out of it. So that was a cool idea, but for me at least, the latency
No, the
mixed with
mechanics.
poor skill didn't make
Yeah.
that happen often.
It didn't. It wasn't enjoyable, I will say.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. DS Remake, I actually love PvP in.
Oh god, it was amazing.
I'm hardcore in the minority on that because all the like stupid lag backstabs are still there and all that
Great.
nonsense. I think those are fun and
Black
hilarious.
Knight, Black Knight longsword, was it, or great sword?
Oh yeah, Black Knight swords for sure. There's
Uh,
great shit in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, all I would say objectively easier than Elden Ring's invasions.
Yeah, and
To your point.
I think that's the reason. That was the main part of this discussion. I think is just that's our view on that. I don't think there's anything that any caveats or things that could change that.
No.
Just because it doesn't make sense otherwise. And I haven't, to be clear, I haven't played or I haven't beaten Demon Souls.
I have.
Yeah, I know you have, but that's what I'm
Couple
saying. Like,
times.
that's why I'm saying like between the two of us, we've played or beaten all the games. Not Shadow of the Erdtree yet. We're both. I think I've beaten every main boss except for like one, which I don't think is a main boss. I think they're an optional legendary boss. But anyways,
Yeah, and I think I have just the last two, like, proper story bosses left.
Yeah, I
I'm
fucked up and
about all cleaned up.
I did like I did blast it through the story on accident, and it was like,
Yeah, it
what
happens.
happens after this? Because it's it's an open world game, so it's kind of confusing when stuff like that happens. But um, and we'll probably talk about that stuff in a different episode.
For
So
sure.
the art book for Elden Ring was leaked. Or wasn't? I don't know if it was really announced. Elden Ring, Grace given it. Yeah,
I think
announced.
it was announced, yeah.
But it's not something we'll all be able to enjoy. I like that title.
Yeah, because it's not something we'll all be able to afford.
Yeah. So apparently the book isn't cheap. The collector's edition, which I think is supposed to be the base one.
That's the cheapest one, yeah.
Yeah. So the collector's edition is the base one. It comes in at 215 pounds sterling, or I think you said like $277 USD.
I think that's what I said, yeah. Yeah,
And
277 USD.
that's the cheapest version available. And then the limited edition. This is an art book of Elden Ring. So I don't think it's not just Shadow of the Erdtree. I think it's Elden Ring.
Yeah.
The mythology of Elden Ring, introducing Grace given the mythology of Elden Ring, which is a 500-page plus appraisal of the most ambitious RPG in the video game history, written to be loved by Elden Ring lore expert Geoff Smalltown Triscott.
Yeah, who's a very big YouTube creator.
So the limited edition
I
retails
believe.
for £602, and you said what was that, like $7
The second one up
USD? Yeah,
is 776 USD.
yeah, that's really expensive.
That's pricey.
But that one's bound in actual leather, and I get it. If you're a huge fan, you could afford it, sure, but that's a lot.
And
Like it doesn't even come with
that's
the game or anything.
no, and that's not even the most expensive one because there's one higher than that, which is
Yeah.
the benefactor edition, which is 1108 USD.
So is this like a
That's
fucking
more than a grand
Kickstarter or
for
something?
a book. I don't know, but it's outrageous to me.
No, it
I
is
mean,
absolutely outrageous. Like
look,
I'm not gonna buy this. If someone wants to
no.
buy these for us so we can review them, absolutely. I'll
Well,
give you a PO
sure.
box.
I'll I'll gladly add it to my collection. It's a cool item, but
But
the amount
we'll put
the
that on
amount
our
of
Amazon wish lists.
yeah, but the amount of actual fans who could actually afford these things is
Yeah.
very low.
Yeah, I would say that.
It's outrageous enough to make me question. I'm not sure who these are made for
Yeah, that is
because I don't
kind of
think it's the
strange.
average Souls fan or Elden Ring
No,
player.
or even Souls Tuber, man. I only know of like one or two that could probably afford it, right? We don't even know them personally, I don't think. I
We
mean,
know a couple.
I don't know if Lost could afford one.
We don't got a name drop, but we know a few between
I'm
the two of
gonna
us.
name drop Lost My Sanity. He didn't respond. He didn't respond to my DM when I showed him that we started this podcast. But you know what? I think I'm gonna have to maybe we should ask him. Maybe he'll come on.
Maybe it would. He's been on before, but
Yeah. His ego loves being stroked, and I'll gladly stroke it.
I'm sure you can tell him you said that, and he'll be
First
very happy
off,
to hear it. Point being,
Edge. Second, two-handed.
there you go. Which segues perfectly into our third and final topic for the episode: the amazing chest ahead massages.
Amazing chest ahead, glorious view. I think so. We want to talk a little bit about messages in Shadow of the Erdtree and Elden Ring, and I think by far my favorite message has been, "Oh, or you don't have the right. Oh, you don't have the right." It's like, what the fuck is this?
You
And
would
it
like
wasn't-
that message because it's
it
such a
wasn't-
troll.
It
Shit.
wasn't until like the 20th time that I've seen it, I started to really understand what it meant, and I realized, because I'm a troll. Yeah, I'm a troll. I'm a bloody finger. I'm an invader. The few of us that exist in this fucking game, I've only met like one or two other invaders in my thousands of invasions, and unfortunately, I have turned on a couple of them. But
Well, you have to sometimes.
yeah,
It's the
Yeah.
law.
Also, when you're swinging a fucking greatsword around, sometimes people get the wrong idea when you smack him for 500 hit points on accident. And it's like, well, I guess I just have to keep smacking you then. But yeah, so what has been one of your favorite or most annoying messages that you've seen in Shadow of the Erdtree?
Well, hilariously, because I'm not a troll, every time I see the "you don't have the right" or "you don't have the right," but if you don't have the right or don't have the right, I get so angry.
That's great.
I get triggered by it.
I will say this: I've never put down messages in Shadow of the or in Elden Ring. I don't think I don't even know. I might have done it in one of the Souls games, but I don't remember. But yeah, that one's triggering for you.
That one is very triggering for me. But anything that references something that's old, so anything that gets close to, I mean, one of the most legendary comments of all time is from, I think, DS2, which is there's a boiling cauldron. I forget where it even is, but there's a skeleton in the cauldron who's like in a position of crawling, like they were trying to crawl out. And there's a legendary message right next to that: "Don't give up, skeleton." And I love that message with my heart and soul. So if I see anything resembling that, it just brings a smile to my face.
I will say this: when I think it's like I'll be struggling with a boss or something, and then when I finally beat it, you'll reply to me, "Fine work, skeleton."
Yeah.
And that's I don't know as if I've ever actually seen that message, or even that one. I don't think I've seen that one, but I enjoy when you say it, at least.
Yeah, fine work, skeleton.
And it reads in my head like a message in the game that you find on the ground, because it does. But of course, who could forget the legendary? Of course, this is going back a bit. I think it was in DS2, maybe DS1. Did they have messages in DS1?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it was.
They had messages in Demon Souls even.
Try finger butt hole.
Yeah, that was in DS1 for sure. I don't remember if that was in Demons or not. I don't think so.
It was definitely in DS2, I think. But like,
yeah, it was definitely in DS1 as well.
Butt hole, which of course is a great thing. It really brings hope for humanity back.
It does. It does. One of the things that I've enjoyed about Elden Ring is just the amount of whether it be like an NPC or a set background that's bent over or angled in just such a way, and then there's a message, and I'll go click that message, and it just says, "Try fingers." I'm like, you know. And
another one I've seen. I don't know. I guess you can gesture with your message.
Yeah.
So there's one where it's like there's like two knights like suits of armor that are right next to each other, perfectly positioned for the message. It's first off two-handed, and then they put their arms out like this, and their hands go right into the cod piece.
Yeah. That reminds me of another one. I've seen a couple. I saw two today that are so there's like the little tents, and like the different like where there's different like army setups in place. And if you go into some of the tents, it'll be like some of the smaller tents are like a single pole with a tent. And then somebody will put a message, and it'll be a female character without armor on, doing like the little pirouette next to the pole, and it'll say skill required ahead, but gorgeous view ahead, or something like that.
So
that's a pretty fun one.
I realize for people maybe that haven't played any of the Souls games yet and want to get into it, or maybe newer players in Elden Ring that don't quite understand what the messages are, the messages are a multiplayer thing. So only when you're online. When they appear in Souls games, they appear on the ground as little like white script, little block of white script on the ground. And in order for that to appear, another player had to have taken whatever object you need to write it. I think it's some of them, I don't know if there's an object in Elden Ring because I haven't done it. How do you write messages in Elden Ring?
I don't actually remember if it's an item or not now.
I think it's just an option. I think it's just an option.
I think in Elden Ring it might be an option. But every other
in other
you
games,
you have to
you
get
have to
a
get
item
a
first.
piece of chalk or whatever.
The soap
And
stone
the soapstone,
in
yeah,
DS3
which
anyway.
is chalk essentially.
No, it's a
But
stone made out of
it's a,
soap.
but uh, it's a multiplayer aspect of the game that sort of is in the game, unless you choose to play offline mode, and if you do, you are weak and you shouldn't be playing Souls games. But just kidding, not really.
Samson, I don't gatekeep Lancaster.
I don't. That's not something that I do. Oh, don't tell my Eve podcast that. That's my favorite. You can gate camp in the game. That's a thing. It's called gate camping. But anyways,
Gate camping is not gatekeeping.
no,
Conflating
gatekeeping. Yes,
terms.
similar though. But anyways, that aside, it's a multiplayer aspect where someone can help or hinder or just bring some humor to your day while you're playing the game, because they can write. You can't write just anything. It's a set of like words or phrases,
Right.
and the players get really creative, and that's why we have all this hilarious shit that happens. But yeah, I think yeah, you don't have the right as just that one tickles me. It does, because like it was annoying at first, and I was like, when to be honest, my very first thought that happened, it was something that I couldn't, it's like it's something that looks obviously like I can open this door, but no, it doesn't open from this side, or opens from something else, or like it's a an invisible wall or whatever it is. Oh, you don't have the right. And when I first saw that, I was like, wait, but how do I get the right? Like how? But where do I get that? Like, is that that item? Like, is there something where I could? Because like, but it turns out no, it's just a troll message most of the time. But it also almost always denotes something that you really can't get or go through that way. But it usually means there's another way to go through there, typically. Um, but also too, like people will be really helpful, and they'll be like, hidden passage ahead, or
Although
precious.
99% of those are troll messages too.
Yes, this is true. But I was in the Abyssal
But
Woods
those are fun.
today. I was in the Abyssal Woods today, and I was going towards Manus's Manu's Mance. What the fuck is it called?
Midra?
Midra's Mance.
Midra's Mance.
Midra's Mance. I don't know why that makes me sound like a southern gentleman, but
I don't either, because it doesn't happen to me.
Midra's Mance. I was going that way, but then there's like this one section where it's like it goes up really high up to like a cliff, and I ran into a message right there between that and this path, and it said, first off, right, and precious, and then precious item ahead, or something like that. And I was like, okay. And then I went up there and I got whatever item it was. It wasn't something super amazing or anything, but like it was an item. And if I was a completionist, or if it was an item that I needed or wanted, then that's cool.
Yeah, and it's easier to just go that direction, grab the item, then get back to the fork in the road and go the way of progress.
Yeah. But
In
the exact opposite, of course, you'll get someone that will say, try jumping, and it's just a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
But
that's a good troll move, though.
It is a good troll move, especially when you roll up there and you see like 6 blood splats on the
ground. Somebody did a good job.
Yeah.
But
yeah, fine work, skeleton.
That fine work, skeleton. That brings me to another one that was triggering for me that was happening yesterday. So I decided to back down, but because I was doing the story bosses, and then I decided to back down to basically be like, okay, I'm about as like far into this as I'm gonna get naturally. So let me look up a list of bosses, see who I missed, and go back and do cleanup.
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah, because you said that, I'm doing cleanup.
Now I'm doing cleanup, but before I initiated cleanup, I was bashing my head against Mesmer, which was like, I don't know, 9 attempts just to get the summon sign to work.
Yeah,
because it's inside the boss room.
I didn't even know about the Horn Eater. I bashed my head against him, not maybe as that many times before. I was just like, I want to do more invasions. I want to progress through the story. I just summoned some dudes, and we murdered him.
Nice. Unfortunately, in New Game Plus. I'm not level 300 and something, but I'm high enough level that I can't summon humans. I think I'm like 240 or something like that.
Oh, that makes it, yeah. Okay, yeah. Nobody.
So yeah,
So
I don't
you're all
get help.
lonely.
Yeah, so I've got Hornsent and Mimic Tear, but I was trying to bash my head against Mesmer, and some just absolute shitbird of a troll
Was it me? No, just kidding.
had figured out where the summon sign was for the
Yeah.
NPC and put a message like almost right on top of it.
Dick.
So you gotta like really zero in on where you're going to
That
click correctly.
sucks. So
And for Mesmer
that's
especially, you have like a half second to get the summon off before
yeah.
he lands his attack.
It's similar. Not to spoil too much, but it's similar
Great.
with Bale. What's this called? Bale.
Bale.
The
Yeah, the
dread or
dread.
whatever. Yeah, it's
By
a
the way,
similar situation.
I realized we're recording. I meant to make this shit bird comment before we started recording. First try for Bale on me.
Nice. I think
Got him first
I
go.
think mine was like the second or third. But I also told you what to do.
Yeah, but I also couldn't actually do that because I'm using one of the DLC weapons that cannot be buffed.
Oh, so then your
So,
mimic tier can't buff
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Neither
Well,
Mimic Chan nor I was able to use the buff, but
yeah, but what's the weapon that you're using?
it's the oh geez, I forget the name. It's the ancient meteoric
what's it do?
great sword.
What's
It's just
it do?
it's a giant slab of rock that just melts things.
Oh, okay. It doesn't have like an attribute to it or anything. It's just straight physical.
Yeah, physical. I think it does some damage based off arcane as well.
Oh, okay. Well, that probably helps.
I respect to
Arcane
maximize
probably helps. So like typically weapons like that with an extra attribute are gonna help more anyway. But I really like
that's why you can't buff them is because then it would be too
yeah.
OP.
Yeah. Well, we're you know what we're not I was about to tangent off into that, but we're not going to talk about bosses in this episode because
You're also not talking about weapons this episode.
we're also not talking about weapons this episode. But messages to the final thing that I think I wanted to say about messages was that the whole troll aspect of how you said they covered up the Horn Eater summon is it annoys me to no end when they put them right on top of items and shit. Like,
Yeah.
like fucker. That one gets me. Maybe not as triggering as one would think because you can cycle through, but if you're just
but
like
who
running
does naturally?
no, exactly. If you're just running through, unless I'm looking for something specifically, I'm gonna grab it and go. But it's like boom, message. God damn it. And sometimes you'll press it more than once just because it's like a reflex, and then you have to stop and go change it to change the interaction. In some cases, or maybe something they change later, but they do prioritize the item. Sometimes maybe it's something they changed recently. I know in the older games it was even worse, but that is annoying. But good on you guys for making those troll messages.
They're worth it.
Yeah, I think
they're worth it for the lulz.
They are worth it for the lulz, and because somebody it got somebody. You can be sure it got somebody, especially with Elden, especially when there's actual evidence. When it's like try jumping and there's just like a dozen fucking half a dozen, half a dozen one of the other fucking blood spots on the edge of the cliff because everybody tried jumping. But one of the things that I don't think it was in God, was it Dark Souls 3? Dark Souls 3 is the one that has the crystal dragon after you go through that library zone. Or was that Dark Souls 1?
The boss?
There's a giant
a
crystal
boss
dragon.
enemy?
Yeah,
there's a dragon in DS3. And no, I think you're thinking of DS1 though. Seath the Scaleless.
Seath, yeah, DS1.
After the archives.
Yeah. So yeah, after the archive. So that's DS1. In DS1, to get to Seath, you have to go through the Crystal Caverns area, and there's that invisible path.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if messages were on that, but I know I saw them. I saw at least one invisible path in Elden Ring where people put messages on it, so it's like very obvious that that's an invisible path now because you can put a message, float it in the air. But I feel like the one
I
in
found one in Shadow of the Erdtree as well. It's an
yeah.
invisible bridge with just
Yeah,
notes
no,
on
no,
it.
sorry. That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Because I found it in the base game too.
It's in the ruins. Yeah, no, I don't remember fighting in the base game, but it's in the ruins. Yeah, there's definitely one. But I feel like in DS1, it was a little bit harder, and I found myself, in order to remember the exact pattern, I would be shooting arrows at the
Hmm.
ground so that I could see. I would
That's
get, and I love all of it
it's a
because
good touch.
especially that one reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Um,
Mm.
because of that, the leap of faith part of the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But yeah, so here's the thing. I think we're gonna do more episodes of this because it's a lot of fun. I
It
like
is.
talking about Souls games, and we finally have like a reason to do it, I guess. I don't know. Like I
Finally.
finally
Because
yeah.
because you and I both bottled this shit for so long.
It has been, but it is up there within strength and gaming. It is close to, so like the amount of shit that I'm not, or the stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about on strength and gaming. The very worst thing is Eve. Nobody
Right.
wants to hear me talk about Eve. I felt like the second thing, or in between, kind of was like Diablo. At a certain point, I just sounded like Rain Man spitting out numbers when we were talking about Diablo 3, and nobody wants to hear that. And now Dark Souls was also too kind of like, nobody else really plays Dark Souls. And yes, most of us, I think. Well, no, I honestly, I think the only person that's played Elden Ring is Subly, but um Sal's too old for Souls games. He doesn't play them anymore.
That's
Um,
tragic.
yeah, it is tragic. He doesn't play them anymore. Although I think Elden Ring is on his list. So maybe for Christmas I'll buy it for him, and then he can be on this show for an episode. Um, but yeah, I feel like, well, between all of us at Strength and Gaming, we're the only Souls tubers. We're the only people
Yeah.
that actually created Souls content for YouTube under our personas or whatever. And I actually, Raging Red Onion did some Elden Ring stuff too. I didn't done anything for Shadow of the Erdtree. But it's hard. It is way, like you said earlier, that you're level one, broken sword, unupgraded broken sword playthrough of DS3. Um, it's not like the invasions didn't give enough content to really produce multiple things, and because even when I found the fine tuning of like, okay, here's a place I know I will always get an invasion. Here's a place where the highest percentage of, you might actually get to fight, versus, or I should say, it's not versus like a ratio of time spent, right? Like if it takes me 10 minutes to get 5 invasions where we actually get to fight, that's better than it taking an hour to get 10 where we actually fight. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
but still not enough
That's always a game that gets
for
played, and that's why actually
content.
one of the things that I love about DS3 Invasions, going back to DS3 Invasions were the fucking best, is DS3 added the little ember counter next to area locations, so you could see how many hosts were in
Yes.
the area that could be invaded. So you could just go wherever there were hosts to be invaded and go nuts,
Yeah.
so that you didn't have to wait
Another
forever.
another thing that made it, I almost feel like Dark Souls games went from favoring invaders, like really favoring them, to hating them like with a passion.
Yeah,
But
it's
you know what?
definitely only gotten more restrictive over the
I
over the
feel like
timeline.
yeah, and I feel like it's directly related to the popularity, or I should say, the target audience of the game, because Elden Ring had a much larger target audience than
Yeah,
any Souls game in all of existence. Um, and you know what? I'm gonna I think I'm gonna include Tenchu Stealth Assassins as a Souls game. And I think that's technically the first Souls game that I played. It's just not recognized as a Souls game because it came before even Demon or Dark Souls. I think. I don't know if that's true. Now I gotta
Google it.
find this out. Let's
Google
see,
it.
Demon. What?
Is it made by FromSoft? Because I haven't even heard of this game.
I think it is. Maybe I'm crazy.
Because the only thing I knew of that they made before Demons was Kingsfield.
Tenchu.
Well, it was a franchise, but yeah.
Stealth Assassins. I might be very wrong right now. Is this the original game? Oh God, no, yeah. It's fucking why did I think that? It's
Maybe just because it's hard as shit.
it's Activision. It's Activision.
Maybe it's just the level of difficulty you associate with Souls.
1998. No, it's really so
And therefore assumed they were the same thing.
I thought it
Same
was
developer.
FromSoft, for fuck's sake. I feel like I something fucking
Maybe somebody from FromSoft worked on it. That's the next thing to check. It's like, okay, did somebody from FromSoft make it?
yeah, hold on. It's Tenchu Stealth Assassins from software. From software Tenchu wiki. What is this? Japanese video game primarily known for Armored Core. Yeah. Yeah, it says right here. Okay, Tenchu fandom. TenchuFandom.com wiki. From software. Kabushiga Ishigashi Furumo Software. Okay. The Japanese video game publisher primarily known for Armored Core.
Yeah.
One of my favorite fucking games.
That's
Tenchu and Dark Souls. So there you go. Yes. But why when you look up Tenchu Stealth Assassins? Oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't the Oh no, it's this one right here. No. I'm confused. Maybe there was
okay. I can clear it up for you right now. I just looked it up on just general Wikipedia. So it was developed by Acquire K2 LLC and FromSoft, published in part by Activision. So
okay, that's why. That's why
you saw publishing and got confused.
Yeah. Okay, I'm confused. Don't worry about me. But yes, Tenchu Stealth Assassins, Tenchu. I think I played at least 2 of the Tenchu games, I want to say, and a lot of the Armored Core games. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Like, we were talking about something before that happened.
You were saying Tenchu is actually the first Souls game before Demons.
Yeah, because yeah. So Demon Souls, when was that released?
Fuck if I know.
Oh well, doesn't
I'm
matter.
bad with dates.
That doesn't matter. That's that. You know what? Tell us in the comments. Give me shit for being confused there for a minute. But Tenchu is like, so that's why I really loved Sekiro. Was like my fucking jam because it was Dark Souls Tenchu, and it made sense because Tenchu was from software as well. So that being said, like,
guys, go easy on him in the comments. He's old.
No, do it.
I'm old, but he's older.
Ord. Yeah, you're old now, but I'm like fucking old. I got all this gray going on.
Yeah, I got some, but it doesn't show up on camera too well.
I've had the sides of my head shaved for a long time, but I bet you there's a lot more gray there now than there was in the past.
Probably.
Yeah. An excuse to talk Souls. It has happened, and we're doing it, and I don't care what anybody thinks. But secretly, I very much care what you think. So please comment on the video. Like, but it's not that. I mean, I care. I care about what you think, but it doesn't matter what you think because we're right. And get good, scrubs. That should be the sign off. That from now on.
Yeah, it should.
Or try finger butthole. No, you don't have the right.
You don't have the right. Get good, you motherfucking scrubs.
All right. We're still fighting ourselves with this. It might branch off a little more, but we're definitely I do more of these episodes because we haven't even scratched the surface, honestly.
No, we haven't even talked about like any bosses or lore or anything.
Well, because
substance.
Because you keep saying, I gotta finish it first. You gotta finish it first. I don't want to spoil it for you. I get it. I understand.
We do have to finish it first.
We do have to finish it first. I have to clear. I think I haven't gotten fingered yet by one of the main bosses, the finger boss. I haven't done the finger boss. I think that's the one that I'm missing as far as big bosses are concerned. But then I looked through the list and I saw a whole mess more bullshit.
Finger boss ain't too bad.
No, I'm not worried because honestly, fucking. Oh wait, no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
Not talking about that.
Not in this episode. The next episode,
we will talk about it.
We will talk about it. So we're not talking about it now. But for future,
we'll talk about it off air.
If you've gotten this far in the episode, put in the comments what your favorite boss is, or your worst boss, or the boss you had trouble with, or just comment about anything else we said. Because I feel like most likely we're going to talk about bosses next.
You know what? Specifically, if you've actually made it this far, because this is a dramatically longer episode than I was expecting it to be.
Me
comment about the massive erection that I have for Bloodborne. Because that is the best Souls game, in my opinion, hands down, overall.
We are born of the blood.
Made by the blood.
Undone
by the blood. Hell yeah. Fucking love Bloodborne.
Welcome home, good hunter.
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
Which you still haven't even played the DLC for that, which is a whole other...
I know. That's a point of contention.
Can of worms.
I absolutely, if we're 2 episodes in here now in Shadow of the Erdtree, and that's now something that I have to do, but I think I might have to do a fresh playthrough of Bloodborne. It's not. I think
it's been long enough
yet, is it?
God, unfortunately, no.
Okay,
we keep
get
waiting.
It on PS5?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So
you can get it, I think, digitally on PS5.
If I could get it digitally on PS5, I will do a fresh playthrough with the game and the DLC. Oh God, that sucks though, because
But you also already owned it. Would you have it on PS4?
I think it was PS4, but I don't know.
You can just throw that disc in your PS5, baby boy.
Is it a cloud save?
I believe so, yeah. Should be.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, because I did a lot. I did like all those fucking dungeons and shit. All those Chalice dungeons. I did so many. I don't want to have to redo everything because I already have like my build and everything. I think my favorite weapon is the Blades of Mercy or whatever.
Oh, those are good.
And Ludwig's.
I'm a sucker for the
2 opposites.
I'm a sucker for the Holy Moonlight Blade, which you wouldn't have gotten because it's a DLC weapon. But it's also in basically every Souls game.
Oh God, there's so much to talk about. I can't, and I have to stop myself. But we will talk about it soon, and we'll probably talk about more stuff. But I think Shadow of the Erdtree, I think it has potential to be more than just a mini series, is what I'm starting to feel right now. But I don't want to get my hopes up.
Do a whole side Souls bit.
Yeah, just become its own podcast. But
anyways, I will replay every one of those games right now. This is how desperate I got. It's how desperate I got a couple days ago. I knew that Shadow of the Erdtree was ending for me. Like I was getting close to the end.
So you had to.
So I bought the game Lies of P, which I don't know if you've heard of that game. It's the latest Souls-like, which is based on fucking Pinocchio or some shit. But I bought that and installed it just because I was like, I know as soon as I finish Shadow of the Erdtree, I'm going to be sad and I'm going to need something to fill that hole. So I would replay the whole series.
Try finger. That's what you need to fill that hole.
No, wait. Oh wait, we're still live. Holy shit!
Fuck, we're gonna be on some
Gotta wait for that.
Some scandal channel now. Yeah, no, that's gonna be our Patreon or our OnlyFans.
There you go.
All right. Oh, we're good. We'll see you guys next time.